To the story now, e-hailing drivers are slamming on the brakes. They say they've had it with app partners exploiting them. Customers affected by the strike are advised to use alternative transport. And our reporters are on the ground following that story. We've got our senior reporter, Desan Thathia in Durban, and Nobesuthu Hejana, who's bringing us the details from Cape Town. Desan, let me start with you. Earlier on, you were speaking to the Bolt drivers who were talking about that 50 Rand. Explain to us what this means and what this could mean for people who already can't afford e-hailing services.
Maseko, let me start here. So when we spoke earlier, the marchers were making their way down through the CBD in Durban, and they've now arrived at the City Hall. So what you're seeing here behind me is the grouping that is handing over or preparing to hand over the memorandum to a representative from the KZN Transport Department. That memorandum is one that is shared with their counterparts in other parts of the country. And you'd be aware that one of the issues is that base price we spoke about. It's also the call for the regulation of the industry, but a number of other things as well, like having offices in each of the provinces, somewhere where drivers can go to. So to come back to your original question, that speaks to the minimum price that a rider is charged every time he takes one of these cabs. So, for example, in the past, you could take a trip that was as cheap as 20 Rand in some instances, and that base price then moved up a little bit. They want that now to be nothing less than 50 Rand. But let me now bring in a representative from the South African E-Hailing Association, Mr. Stembiso Ngwaba. Thank you so much for joining me. So, a number of issues here, but one of them, or most of them, around the cost. Drivers are saying that they are not seeing enough of a profit. In some cases, they are spending too much on fuel. Is there not a concern then that you are going to price some clients completely out of the equation?
Thank you. Yeah, it is a bit concerned. However, if you look at the current affairs, you will see that they are not fair at all to the drivers and as well as to the owners of the vehicles. Right now, you get a trip which costs around 19 Rand, 20 Rands minimum, which is not fair. You can't, right now with the recent fuel hikes, the price per litre is over 20 Rands, and you get a trip that costs less than that 20 Rand. It is not fair at all.
We've also seen that there's a call for the companies themselves to reduce the commission that they are making off these trips. Would that alone solve your problems without raising the base price and impacting the consumer?
Yes, definitely, because right now the total commission that they take from us, including their VATs, taxes and everything else, it's over 35%. Can you imagine, we're working on a trip that costs 20 Rands, they take 35 Rands, how much are we left with? And at times you find that there's more than 3 passengers on the vehicle.
These changes that you're proposing, would they effectively bring you on par with regular meter taxis, the old-fashioned taxis that we know to move around Durban? Is that what the aim is, to bring you on that level in terms of pricing?
It's not actually the aim, but even if we come closer to that level, I think we will be grateful as vehicle owners right now.
Okay, and lastly, just talk to me about what the plans are for the next 2 days. I understand that what we're seeing is just part of the 3-day protest. What else is planned in Durban? Are we going to see other marches like this?
No, there won't be any marches from today. However, we will still be out there on the streets to demonstrate, because we will be offline. No driver is expected to be on the road from today until Thursday midnight.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Ngwaba. You know, on that note, Maseko, just a little while ago, some of those that were gathered here had actually opened up their apps and they were requesting drivers to see who would respond, because their argument is that this is meant to be a cause that everyone is fighting for. So what you're seeing here is not the entire number of e-hailing drivers and owners in KwaZulu-Natal. One of the members of the South African E-Hailing Association said he puts that number at over 2,000. So this is really only a fraction. So they're now trying to find out who is still working and why that is, because it was meant to be a collective effort of downing tools over these 3 days that they are protesting for.
All right, Desin, let's go to the city of Cape Town now, where our colleague Nobesuthu Hejana is also with e-hailing drivers who are on strike. Nobesuthu, are they also making their way to a transport department in that province?
Well, Masako, a few minutes ago, the e-hailing drivers did hand over their memorandum of demands to the Office of the Public Works and Transport Department in the province. They say they've been trying to engage with the MAC because this is not their first attempt to get the attention of the government, but those attempts earlier, they resulted into nothing. But they're hoping that with this time around, they will be getting a response. They're saying that that memorandum of demands that has been handed over, they're expecting the MEC to respond within 2 days. But we also saw here in Cape Town a few number of those drivers who were gathered and actually marched to the office. When I asked where is the rest, or where are the rest of the guys that are supposed to participate in this march, I was told by the coordinator, Sakumzi Peters, that other people are checking other areas, especially the airport area, to ensure that no e-hailing services are available that side. But they're saying that they are in partnership with the rest of the country or other branches that are also partaking in this protest or march. But I also spoke to a female driver who was telling me that in as much as they feel unsafe when they drive to some areas that have been designated as red zones, they feel like Uber or these apps are not protecting them enough. Hence, they want government to regulate the services. And they were saying that for them, when they started or joined this, they wanted to make, or rather to provide for their families, but they're feeling like they're not making enough because the rates are not increasing. And they're also saying that the transport, or rather the petrol, is increasing, but they don't see any income on their side.
All right, Nobesuthu Hejana in Cape Town for us, and Desin Tathia is in Durban. Let's leave it there for now.